das drauf druckst.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Manny here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of New School Bouldering. As you can see, we just recently went out yet again into another one of these, rather more modern bouldering gyms, and we recorded a couple of really sweet problems which I wanted to show you and talk a little bit about them, have a little bit of a technical, nerdy, geeky analysis as usual. And the first one is already this yellow hold problem which Torsten tried, and I gotta say quite successfully. As you can see, it involves a pretty basic, pretty standard, pretty big double dyno, which requires to push a lot with the right foot actually. And then we have this campusing problem at the end to the top hold, which is actually probably the crux of the whole boulder when you get the double dyno down. So now in this shot here, I think I get the dyno again for a little bit of a slow-mo. And now take a look at Torsten's hips and Torsten's right leg, okay? The right foothold is really the one which is at the highest at the start. And this is also something that you should think about, when you're double dynoing. Which foothold is the highest? Which is the one that you're gonna use to create the momentum the most, so to say, In this case, for Torsten, it was the right one. And he also did something with his hips, which is kind of important, which is to, generate momentum. Get a little bit of a swing before you jump, so that you have the momentum already in the right direction once you take off, so to say. So yeah, really nice job by Torsten here. This was another one of these problems, really simple. As you can see, we've got this box down there for stepping, and then this kind of roof for pushing, and then this violet kind of horizontal hold to jump to. And this is, it looks really close, and it actually is as well. But the thing is, it's really weird to jump from this position. As you can see, this time the left foot is the one that generates the momentum, but not a lot actually. It's almost enough to simply fall a little bit to the right and catch this horizontal violet hold in the right moment. And then comes the actual crux of the problem, which is this kind of really body strengthy, pushy part around this edge there on the right side. And then we get the sloper, really bad as well. And then we get this undercling with the left hand, setting up a kind of sweet dyno to the top hold, which is not too big, not too much of a challenge, but still it's a little bit psychological because you're already quite high and stuff, and you gotta do things right to stick this one. And this time we're gonna take a look at Torsten. As you can see, Torsten demonstrating his huge arms, already almost being able to instantly grab this target hold of the double dyno. And here he dabbed a little bit when he tried the actual double dyno, and already second try he basically got the double dyno down. And yeah, using this, he's got a little bit of a problem, pushing himself through this upper body strengthy situation here. And this is something that I found personally quite interesting, because you would think that Torsten, with his long arms, Torsten has quite some Ape Index advantage compared to myself. When it comes to his length of his arms, it's like, I don't know, he's got +7 or something, and I've got 0, and he's also a little bit taller than me, so he's got quite a lot more reach here on this problem. But despite that, he kind of wasn't in the end able to do this compression situation there. And in the end, I'm gonna bring up a little bit of a comparison where we're gonna see Torsten versus me in this problem, which should be quite interesting to look at from an Ape Index perspective, so to say. So as you can see, really hard to push himself up here. He's trying to turn the left hand around there as well. And here he just didn't hit the hold perfectly, I would say. He was a little bit too low there, so that's why he slept off. And here we've got the comparison between his first try, or the first try he sticked it basically, which is on the right, and the second try, or the later tries, which is on the left. And as you can see on the left, he's much more controlled, hitting the foothold much sooner. And here we have the comparison. Here I'm coming into the game basically, and as you can see here, I'm starting to push here. It's kind of, my short arms allow me to get into a pushing situation here quite early. and kind of allow me to, you know, manage to stick this situation, so to say. And I found this really interesting because it kind of demonstrates that even on reachy moves, sometimes shorter arms can be an advantage due to the leverage, you know. Anyway, let's take a look at this red problem here. Pretty cool double dyno to this double, you know, pissoir holds again. I really wanted to flash this one because it looks so tempting, and that's why I checked it out a little bit beforehand. Really cool double dyno there. And as usual, you know, with these lateral double dynos, you kind of should think about the hand when you've got two finishing holds, you know, two target holds. Kind of think about the hand, which is more important when it comes to grabbing the target holds, you know, and focus on hitting the target hold with that hand more, so to say, compared to the other hand. And in this case, this was the right hold for me because the swing to the left was quite substantial, obviously, when you're jumping to the left, you know. So that's why I wanted to really hit the right finishing, the right target hold perfectly when I jumped. And I think this is what enabled me, so to say, to flash this boulder. Here's another interesting problem. We've got the double dyno there lined up. As you can see, the distance is not severe, and the double dyno, admittedly, is also not the crux of this problem. By far not, actually. As you can see, we're working ourselves up there after the double dyno to this big triangle volume there. And this right foothold that Thorsten's stepping right now is extremely slippery and extremely bad. And the challenge of this boulder is kind of to make this very small distance there to the top hold with this super bad foothold there for the right. And as you can see, Thorsten slipped off there from the foothold. Here you can see myself sticking the double dyno and working my way up to the crux of the problem as well. Triangle volume kind of looks very bad from this perspective, but it's actually quite rough, and that's why it's sticking quite well. And then sorting my toes in onto this really bad and slippery, slopey foothold there. As you can see, I'm lining up the last move, so to say, trying to get some momentum and then slipping away. Again, losing the right foot on this really slippery, slopey foothold there. And I think Thorsten just gave it one more try as well, losing the foot as well. And we both were not able actually to send this thing, although we thought, hey man, the double dyno, you know, super easy, we're gonna make this thing easily, but then the top threw us off. So here we've got another nice boulder, this green one. Again, the double dyno is not the hardest part of the boulder, I would say. It's not that far, but then what follows afterwards is kind of tricky. You gotta grab this really juggy hold there. Here we got, you know, crushed by a little bit of a girl squat. And yeah, you gotta grab this undercling jug there with your right foot toe hook style, and then get your heel hook in actually to be able to get the side pull. And then you got this really beautiful sequence on these side pulls there, side pull edges all the way up. Actually quite nice problem, I think. Finally, I want to show you the hardest boulder I got done during this session. By the way, I didn't really talk about difficulty here. All these boulders were around 7A, I would estimate, you know. And this guy here, this should be around 7B or something. It's kind of a tricky, slopey thing with this one-hand dyno up there to the sloper, and then a really cool jump to this second sloper there. And you know, when we replay this in slow-mo, and you can really see how this hip turn, this leg turn here enables me to kind of grab onto these slopers and compress them at the same time, you know, so that I don't slip off. So really funny thing. Then this really high heel hook there, and kind of dynamically slapping onto the next sloper, and then grabbing the top hold with a lot of body tension. So I really enjoyed this one, although this is not really a double dyno, I would say. It's kind of a normal dyno actually. But yeah, one of the coolest problems. I hope you enjoyed this little short episode of New School Bouldering. I'll see you soon in the next one, guys. Bye.